Today, we're going to be covering a question that's going to really help you in your self-inquiry and meditation practice. Let me read out the question and then we'll take a deep dive on it. So this was from one of my recent videos on fear. The comment is, I've always been someone who's been more disturbed by my feelings than my thoughts. When I started to inquire into who is the one suffering these feelings, where is the sufferer? Can you locate a sufferer? I found that I couldn't find one. Now these feelings, especially fear, just come and go and don't stick to anyone. I wish it were as easy with my thoughts though. While a lot of things seem to have fallen away, like worrying about past or future, I still find myself lost in narration or daydreams. So the feelings, they're not really sticking anymore, which is wonderful. I'm glad that self-inquiry has brought you that degree of relief and freedom from identifying with feelings. But of course, thoughts are a little more sticky. Today, we're going to explore why that is the case and how you can become free from even the thoughts, identifying with even the thoughts. So firstly, I want to sort of give you an example. And I did a video like this a while back where I actually used a water bottle, but today all I have is a glass. And I've already drank all the water from it, so it's empty, but that doesn't really matter. You know, when you observe a feeling, it's almost like you can see it at a certain distance, right? It comes into your seeing. And of course, like when we are totally unconscious of these teachings, the feelings also feel like what I am, right? They feel like me. But now it's very easy to start to observe feelings. So they start to like almost be seen at a distance. They start to come, they're felt, you observe them, you learn to plainly watch them and see that, hey, what I observe, I am not. The feeling is coming and going. I am not coming and going. The feeling is being observed to come and go, yet I am not coming and going. So this observation starts a really powerful disidentification process. Now the very feelings that you thought were you and the very feelings that had the power to influence your thinking and your whole understanding of reality now start to be seen more objectively at a distance and don't have the power to hook into you in such a way. They don't have the power to make you believe things. They don't have the power to make you fall into certain scenarios, certain thoughts. Thousands and thousands of thoughts even melt away when you start to see feelings in this way. They just no longer have that pull. So, right, you just start to see them coming and going. The thing with thoughts, though, when it's in comparison to feelings, thoughts have a very sticky nature where they still arise like this. Rather than being seen objectively, they still arise like this. Like they hide behind the sense of self, the sense of me. It feels like I am the thinker. I am the thinker that is thinking this thought. And that is why it's sticky. And if you start to practice very consistently what we talk about in today's video, you're going to be free from this stickiness. So notice that even though the thoughts hide behind the sense of self, the sense of I am thinking thoughts. I am a thinker which thinks thoughts. This is what we are going to expose. So firstly, I ask you to notice, and this is something that you may not notice right now while you're watching this video and sort of reflecting on it. This is something that you're going to have to reflect on a few times, and you're going to have to sit within your meditation practice. The thinker that you feel you are, the thinker that you think you are, is an illusion. There is no thinker. It is only the thought that arises. The thought which gets, you see, like all thoughts, notice this. Every thought you have arises from the perspective of the person that you think yourself to be. Notice that whatever thought you have it's like almost like arising in the voice of the person that you appear to be. So let's say your name is John or Lisa. Like every thought you're having is John's voice speaking something. Every thought you're having is Lisa's voice speaking something. This is like why thoughts are so sticky, because you have a sense of self, me, John, my thinking. But care to notice that John, right, that whole personality that you conceive yourself to be, your likes and dislikes, what you are like, your personality traits, what you have been through, and so on and so forth. That also is a thought-made idea arising in this thought. I know it's a little subtle, but try to stay with me. John's thought or Lisa's thought, that identity on behalf of whom this thought is arising, masked in the voice of that person, that is also a concept. That is also a thought-made illusion. And you are only the witness of the thought. So the thinker that you feel you are, right? I, Sunny, the thinker of this thought. I, John, the thinker of this thought. I, Lisa, the thinker of this thought. Is just, it arises in the package of the thought. A thought, when it arises, it's like a whole gift wrap. It's a package. Inside of the package is the thinker, the one who's seemingly thinking thoughts, the perspective of whom the thought is arising from, and whatever the thought is, like the content of the thought, whatever is being thought, whatever object it is associating with. So this can only go on and on and on until you actually start watching videos like this and practicing these things and reflecting on these things. If you find yourself a slave to this right now, then you have to sit with these things. You have to practice these things. That's why all of these videos are there. That's why all of these books are there, to help you, to point you to this, to help you realize this. This is why also, like, no amount of just videos and books will do it for you. Like, the books and videos can only guide you to it, but you have to sit with this in silence, and only then does the stickiness of it start to unravel. That's why, like, without the meditation practice, none of this will ever help you. So notice that now that we've covered, the thinker of the thought and the thought are actually like one. The thought that arises with the thinker attached to it. And you are neither of them. You are not the content of the thought. You are also not the thought-made identity, the thinker on behalf of whom the thought arises. You are only the witness of its coming and going, its arising and passing. So just like previously you were able to observe the fear or the anger or whatever feeling was arising in your experience, you were able to see it come and go. Now, when you start to notice that the thought and thinker are one, and that I am not a thinker, right? You have to disassociate your I am, which is your sense of being, your sense of self, from the thought. You have to start to see that I am not thinking, I simply am, and thinking is an experience that is appearing, that it appears to come and go, just like that feeling was coming and going. Of course, it's a little subtler, but you are going to get this if you continue to practice this. How to practice this? Well, you can try to see your thoughts in such a way where you, like, rather than being inside of the thought and thinking thought, right? You start to objectify thought. It's almost like you lose interest in what you are thinking, because that's sort of a prerequisite for this. You have to lose interest in the content of the thought, and you have to simply acknowledge its being there. So rather than thinking the thought, you're simply noticing its being there, in which it will just vanish and you will remain simply aware, silently aware. Another way is that whenever thoughts arise, you simply let them go and you just return your attention to the sense of I am, your sense of being. and you just stay silently aware of being aware of being. Hold dear to yourself the sense of I, the sense of I am, and don't associate it with any thought. Don't associate it with any feeling, any experience. Don't associate it with the idea that you have of yourself, which is the personal identity. Consider the possibility that this sense of self is not personal at all. And this will begin to free you. So I have more in-depth instructions for this practice of self-inquiry. You can access it below. It is my self-inquiry guide. It is a PDF document that will walk you through this entire practice. And if you need help going deeper into this practice faster, join our community. It is an amazing community which includes a course, weekly Q&A discussions with me. I will help you go deeper into this practice. Check that out in the description box below as well. It's called the School of Awakening. Do you have any questions about this? Make sure to comment them down below. Every week I select a few questions from the comments to answer in future videos. That's all for today. Like this video and subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed it and gained value from it. I will see you next time. Thank you.